What was one of the first main defining moments in your life and reasons that made you make a decision to become an entrepreneur?
So one of the big things for me, people always talk about, a why was getting married. I realized, I was okay as a single guy being fairly, I want to say broke, but fairly broke. Living in a friend's house and living on a half inflated air mattress and all that kind of stuff. But the thought of when I really got serious about proposing to Jackie, my wife, bringing someone else on, that thought never crossed my mind that I was going to bring someone else in to live like that. There was just no way. So getting married was a huge part of it. And it was the first time I felt like it made me, the book that I love that I talk about all the time, Think and Grow Rich. It made me think at a level that I'd never thought before, to really stop and look for the best ways. Because at first I needed to make money for the wedding ring. I wasn't going to give her some 50 cent cracker Jackbox, ring, and she probably wouldn't have accepted that anyway. But so my verse was, I need to make some extra money to buy an engagement ring, and show this woman how much I love her. And so I started thinking, I was working one job, and I started going, okay, well maybe I will be a valet because that's what I'd done in the past, or maybe I will, as a secondary job, maybe I'll get a server job as a secondary job. And that was just what I would call normal thinking. That was just kind of the normal casual. It didn't take great depth. But the problem with that was I was looking for more ways to that was going to take up more of my time. I was thinking in, basically trading in more of my time for dollars. And when I started to think even deeper, I got into, the solution of more of the thought of owning my own business. Now, one other thing that really nudged me was, and this is kind of a personal story. Sometimes it almost chokes me up because there was a Christmas where I wanted to go visit my folks back up in Nebraska. And it was one of those deals where I was about to get snowed out, so I had a day or two off. And I'm a guy who, in sales, I never took time off. I took time off if I was going to a conference to learn about how to be a better person, better sales, better business owner, that kind of stuff. So I barely ever took time off. I had a day or two off for this specific Christmas break to go up and see my family. And there was a storm that was coming in a day early that was basically going to snow me out. That if I was going to leave at the normal time that I was planning on, that I had aligned up with the bosses and all that kind of stuff, that I was going to be snowed out. And so I remember calling them and having to call both because they said, well, why don't you call the other one? And them really not being very happy. I was the second best sales guy on the sales staff, showed up, or I was the guy that was there early. I opened and closed the place, hit my numbers, exceeded my numbers, and was doing fantastic. And I remember them giving me a lot of guff about this. Like, this was kind of a big deal for me to, because I was needing to take one extra day off to make sure that I got in. Matter of fact, I was calling them at 5 or 6 o'clock at night to let them know of the situation so that I could then leave, and drive through the night to barely miss this storm. And it was a big deal. And I remember just being like, man, I had a mom and dad telling me what to do, which made sense from 1 to 18, and I still listen to this day. But now I have this mom and dad telling me what I can and can't, and they're telling me that I can't. These two bosses are telling me that give me a lot of trouble for going and wanting to see my family. And I put in tons of time and effort. And what I realized real quickly was I was not really in control of my
Mm.
situation. And I knew through reading that entrepreneurs did have more control of time and money. And so that was definitely a big, heartstring that got pulled. Was, man, I have to ask for permission to go see my family. And now I don't. If I want to go see my family, I see them whenever I want to because I've kind of bought that time. So those were two extremely big moments in deciding to become an entrepreneur.